Welcome! In this video we're going to do an unboxing of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion for Marvel Champions, a card game. So down at the table, before we get into the unboxing, just wanted to give a huge shout out and thank you to Brant at the Portal Game Store in Manchester, Connecticut for letting me borrow this box for this unboxing before their pre-con release. So I'm in my hotel room, so doing the best with what I've got here. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. latest expansion, designed by Tony Fanchi, who is also at this event. So we are Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Our jurisdiction is the planet. This giant-sized 273 card expansion for Marvel Champions, a card game, centers on the members of S.H.I.E.L.D., a transnational intelligence agency, as they work to keep the world safe. This time, however, the threat comes from within their own ranks. Someone at the highest level of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been secretly aiding the mad scientists of AIM, and it's up to you to expose them. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes with 5 all-new interconnected scenarios where you will not only bring villains to justice, but also hunt for evidence of the traitor in your midst. Will you find them before it's too late? And from looking at the box, we can tell Black Widow, Batroc, MODOK, and the Thunderbolts will be in this. If you're worried about spoilers, basically the first part of this video, I'm just going to go over the pre-constructed decks for Maria Hill and Nick Fury. Then we'll take a quick peek at each of the encounters and then go through the rest of the rule book to see how the campaign goes. So by all means, stop at any point where you don't want to see any more potential spoilers. So inside, of course, we've got the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. rule book, and on the back we're going to have the campaign log. And then we've got some packages, which is going to be used for this scenario basis to put some cards in there so we can help figure out who the traitor is in this game. And then, of course, all of our cards that I'm going to go ahead and separate. And we'll start by looking at the Nick Fury deck and then Maria. All right, for Nick Fury, you see he's coming in with Justice and everyone's favorite S.H.I.E.L.D. spy, Agent Coulson. But Nick comes in with a thwart of 2, attack of 2, and defense of 2. The S.H.I.E.L.D. soldier spy. He's got gather intel as a response. After Nick Fury makes a basic thwart, place 1 threat on your suit form upgrade. So we'll take a look at his suits here in a little bit. And break cover, force interrupt. When you attack, change to assault suit form. Hand size of 5 and 10 health. Then alter ego, recovery of 4. Suit up, set up, put your suit form upgrade into play. Assault side face up. And then infiltrate as an action, change to stealth suit form. Hand size of 6 on this side. Then his upgrade in assault form. Suit form permanent, interrupt. When you attack, remove up to 3 threat from here. This attack deals 1 additional damage for each threat removed this way. Then on the stealth side, suit form permanent, force interrupt, hero. When an enemy would attack you, it schemes instead. Place 1 threat from that activation here instead of on the main scheme if there's 5 or less threat on this card. So then on to his core set. Got Maria Hill, thwart of 2, attack of 1, 3 health. When she thwarts, place the remove threat on your suit form upgrade. Then concentrated fire, I've got 2 of those. Events, cost of 2 each. Hero action, deal 4 damage to an enemy. This attack gains range. If this attack defeats an enemy, choose place threat on your suit form upgrade equal to that enemy's printed scheme, or change to stealth suit form. Then covert surveillance, got 3 of those, 1 cost events. Hero action, remove 2 threat from a scheme. If you're in stealth suit form, you may place a threat on your suit form upgrade. Otherwise, you may change to stealth suit form. Then we have 2 spray fires, 3 cost event. Hero action, choose a player, deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. This attack gains ranged. Then he's got his flying car, a 2-cost support. Hero action, exhaust the flying car and remove a threat from your suit form upgrade. Ready Nick Fury, he gains an aerial trait until the end of this round. Safe House 221. Alter Ego action, exhaust it, and then choose to either heal 2 damage from Nick Fury or place a threat on your suit form upgrade. Then we have an EM shield, 2-cost upgrade. It's an interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, discard this to prevent all of that damage. It's got his eye patch camera, 2-cost upgrade. When any amount of threat would be placed on the main scheme, discard this card, place up to 3 of that threat on your suit form upgrade instead. Then we have his watch. Exhaust it and remove 2 threat from your suit form upgrade. Generate a mental resource for each threat you remove this way. Then his intelligence analysis, 0-cost upgrade. When you reveal treachery, discard intelligence analysis and remove a threat from your suit form upgrade. Cancel the effects of that treachery and discard it. And then a secret agent, 2-cost upgrade. Hero response: after you resolve the ability of a preparation card you control, move 1 threat from a scheme to your suit form upgrade. So that's his core cards. Then for Justice, it's got Agent Coulson, a 3-cost ally, thwart a 2, attack of 1, 3 health. Response: after Coulson enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a preparation card and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. Then we have Quake, 2-cost ally, thwart a 1, attack of 2, 2 health. After a minion schemes, exhaust her to deal 2 damage to that minion. Then 3 global logistics. Exhaust 1 shield card you control. Look at the top 4 cards of a player deck or encounter deck. Discard any number of those and put the others on the top and or bottom of that deck in any order. Then 3 informants. 1-cost upgrades, max 1 per player. When a minion schemes, discard informant. This activation removes threat instead of placing it. Then we have 3 intelligence, 1-cost upgrade, max 1 per player. After a player is dealt an encounter card, discard intelligence. Look at each encounter card dealt to each player and the top card of the encounter deck. You may swap any number of those cards. Then we have 3 prism dusts. 1-cost upgrades, max 1 per player. After a minion enters play, discard Prim Dust, confuse that minion, and deal 2 damage to it. And lastly, 3 Under Surveillance, 2-cost upgrade. Attached to the main scheme, max 1 per scheme, increase the target threat value of the attached scheme by 4. Then moving on to our basics. We have Nick Fury Sr., 4-cost ally, thwart a 2, attack of 2, 3 health. Force response: after Nick Fury Sr. enters play, choose 1, remove 3 threat from a scheme, draw 2 cards, or give a shield character a tough status card. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury Sr. is still in play, discard him. Then we have Super Spies, 0-cost event. Team up between Hill and Fury. Place a total of 3 all-purpose counters and or threat tokens on shield supports and or suit form upgrades. Gemma Simmons. Reduce the cost to play Gemma by 2 if your identity has a shield trait. Exhaust her, generate a mental resource for a tech card. Then Leo Fitz, 3-cost support. Reduce the cost to play Leo by 2 if our identity has a shield trait. It's an alter ego action. Exhaust him, search your deck for a tech card, and add it to your hand. Then we have the Sky Destroyer, 3-cost support. After you play a shield card, exhaust it, deal 2 damage to an enemy. Then 3 Practiced Plan, max 1 per player. After you discard a preparation card you control, discard Practiced Plan, return that card to your hand from your discard pile. And then moving on to the bad cards. Obligation. Give to the Nick Fury player. When revealed, change to Assault suit form. If there is no threat on your suit form upgrade, this card gains Surge. Otherwise, choose to either take 1 damage for each threat on your suit form upgrade, or remove each threat from your suit form upgrade. In either case, discard the card. Then our Nemesis set, Orion. Schema 2, attack for 2, 6 health. Comes in with toughness. Can have any number of tough status cards. Force response: after he takes any amount of damage, give him a tough status. Then acquire Infinity Formula. After Nick Fury takes any amount of damage, give Orion a tough status card. If he is not in play, find him and put him into play engaged with the Nick Fury player. Then we have 2 Leviathan Soldiers. Scheme of 0, attack of 2, toughness. After he schemes, deal 1 damage to the engaged player's identity. And then Cold Storage. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Leviathan minion. Put it in play engaged with you. Shuffle, and then otherwise take 2 damage and a boost of take 1. Alright, and next to Maria Hill, thwart of 2, attack of 1, 2 defense. Each ally you control gains a shield trait. Reassignment as an action move 1 all-purpose counter from a shield support to another shield support. Hand size of 5, hit points of 9. Alter Ego, recovery of 3. May include the maximum number of copies of 3 shield supports in your deck from aspects other than your chosen aspect. It's an action exhauster. Search your deck for a shield support and add it to your hand. Hand size of 6 on this side. Then we have Nick Fury. 4 cost ally, thwart of 2, attack of 2, 3 health. Response, after he uses a basic power, place 1 all-purpose counter on a shield support. Then we have 2 all points bulletins, 2 cost events, hero action. For each shield support you control, remove a threat from a scheme or deal 1 damage to an enemy. 2 on the double, 0 cost event. It's an action ready any number of shield supports with a combined printed cost of 6 or less. Then we've got 3 reinforcements, 1 cost events. It's an action, choose any number of shield supports with a combined printed cost of 6 or less. Place 1 all-purpose counter on each of those supports. Then the hard call, a 2 cost event. Hero action, discard a shield support you control. Deal X damage to each enemy where X is a printed cost of the discarded support. Then special funding, 2 of those. Response, after you spin this card to pay for a shield support, place 1 all-purpose counter on that support after it enters play. And then, of course, support staff. 1 call support and uses 3 staff counters. Exhaust it and remove a staff counter from it. Generate a wild resource for a player whose identity has the shield trait. Then the Iliad, 6 cost support. Gets 3 mission counters, exhaust it and remove a mission counter to choose to deal 5 damage to an enemy, remove 4 threat from a scheme, or heal 3 damage from an identity. Then we have the Life Model Decoy. When an enemy attacks you, discard it, prevent all damage from that attack. And Shield Director, 2 cost upgrade, exhaust it, place 1 all-purpose counter on a shield support. And then we can see she is set up with leadership. So we've got Victoria Hand, cost of 3, thwart of 1, attack of 1, 2 health. After he enters play, ready as shield support. Then Slingshot, 3 cost ally, thwart of 2, attack of 2, 3 health. Spend an energy resource, put Slingshot into play from your hand under any player's control. At the end of the phase, if Slingshot is still in play, return her to your hand. Then we have 3 organizational support cards. When you spin this card, exhaust up to 3 allies and or supports you control that share a trait with your identity. Generate the printed resources on each card exhausted this way. We have 3 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., 3 call support, play under any player's control, max 1 team card per player. If each of your characters has a shield trait, this card gains Interrupt. When you reveal an encounter card, exhaust this card, cancel the effects of that card, and discard it. Then reveal another card from the encounter deck. 3 command teams, 2 call supports. Uses 3 counters, exhaust it, and remove a command counter from it, ready an ally. Then we have the Circe, 6 calls support, uses 2 deploy counters. Exhaust it, remove a deploy counter from it, and choose a player. That player puts an ally into play from their hand. Then another 6 call support. Comes in with 3 counters. Exhaust it, remove a missile counter from it, choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain, and each minion engaged with that player, discarding all tough status cards from those enemies first. Then the Douglas, gets 3 counters. It's an action, exhaust the Douglas, remove an operation counter from it. Remove 2 threat from each scheme, ignoring any crisis icons in play. And then our last one gets 2 counters, exhaust it and remove a supply counter from it. Give a hero or villain a status card of your choice. Give an ally or minion a status card of your choice. Then on to our basic cards. Dum Dum Dugan, a 5-cost ally with authority of 3, attack of 3, but a lot of consequential damage. Health of 5. Interrupt, when you use one of his basic powers, exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control. For each card exhausted this way, he gets +1 to that power for this use. Then we have Grant Ward, 0-cost ally, thwart of 2, attack of 2, 3 health. Cannot defend. After you reveal a treachery, you may spend a mental resource. If you do not, take damage equal to Grant Ward's attack and remove Grant Ward from the game. Melinda May, 4-cost ally, thwart of 2, attack of 2, 3 health. Just use as a basic power, look at the top card in the encounter deck. You may discard that card. Super Spies, their team up, place a total of 3 all-purpose counters and or threat tokens on shield supports and or suit form upgrades. Then we have different art for our energy, genius, and strength. And then we have 3 front organization. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. When an encounter card effect would discard a card you control, discard front organization instead of discarding that card. Then moving on to the press conference, the obligation. Give to Maria Heal. After the player phase ends, remove 1 all-purpose counter from each support you control. It's an alter ego action, exhaust your identity to discard this card. Then the Nemesis cards, got the controller, scheme of 2, attack of 1, 6 health. After he activates against you, remove 1 all-purpose counter from a support. Controlled Innocence is in play, put the top card of your deck into play face down, engage with you as a controlled minion. Then Army of the Controlled. When revealed, find the controlled Innocence environment and put it into play. When defeated, discard each controlled minion. Place 1 all-purpose counter on a support for each minion discarded this way. Then Controlled Innocence. Each face-down controlled minion engaged with the player has a base scheme of 1, attack of 1, and hit points of 1. Force response, after a controlled minion is defeated, place that card in its owner's discard pile and place a threat on the main scheme. Then we have 2 diabolical discs. Surge, and when revealed, remove 1 all-purpose counter from a support. If Controlled Innocence is in play, put the top card of your deck into play face down, engage with you as a controlled minion. And now is where you want to back out if you don't want any further information other than just the basic keywords. So Shield, going over our villains. They still keep the 1 top secret, other than the ones that were on the back of the box. Our components, featured terms, we've got find and tuck. A lot of keywords we've seen before with form, permanent, villainous, and vulnerable. Talks about the victory display. Then moving on to all-purpose counters, the amplify icon we've seen before. Attacks against allies, because we'll need to protect some at some point. Non-scaling villain HP. Got some redacted text, so you don't know who the final villain is unless you continue watching this video. Campaign mode rules, the campaign log, the Shield Executive Board. So that's going over how you're going to set up the game to start with, using preparing the evidence and putting them in our envelopes. So there's our 2 envelopes we'll be putting cards in. So here are our evidence cards, and you can see from down here we have 3 opportunities, 3 motives, and 3 means. And then on the front it just gives us different evidence that's going to help us determine the end of the game depending on what we find throughout, looking at our evidence combinations. So you see we've got some medical records, a wiretap, security scanner, some money, blackmail, ideology, security clearance, travel, and authority. So basically you're going to take one of each of these packs and then put into one of our envelopes, and then all the other is evidence in the others. So that's for preparing the evidence. And then goes over the gathering, board member betrayals. So basically throughout the game, we've got board members. We need to make sure we keep them in check, or else we'll be flipping these cards over. And that's another loss condition. If there are 3 board member attachments in play, the players lose the game. And of course, if you lose this one in the first mission, well, that's loss for the rest of the campaign. And then of course, along with that, we'll have these cards in there. So whenever you draw them, you're putting secret counters on each of these. Let's see. Going through the expert campaign, then going over our starter decks, and this is your last chance to leave before we go through the villains. Now, of course, 4 of them are laid out on the back of the box. So this is going to be going into Black Widow, I believe. Yep, so going through our setup for that. So we'll go ahead and bring all her cards out that we'll see. So we've got all the Black Widow cards, and I'm not going to read the text on each of these, but I'll at least go through all the cards. You've got AIM Abduction and Science cards. And give you another close-up of this. So going through our setup, preparation abilities, and our campaign instructions. So with her, starting off, Schema 1, Attack of 1, Spy, Forced Interrupt. So if you played the character, I know that was, or the hero was based off of preparation. This is kind of playing the same way. When a character you control attacks Black Widow, remove a threat from the main scheme, ignoring any crisis icons in play. Discard the top card in the encounter deck and resolve each preparation ability on that. So you can see on this, starting with 13 per player. And then version 2, when revealed, place 2 threat per player on the main scheme. And then we got the same ability with 16 health. And then moving on up to 20 health. So just has the one main scheme, going through the contents and setup. Then moving over, so we lose 10 threat per player, goes over setup. X is equal to her stage number. If the stage is completed, the players lose the game. So we've got that. And then she's got her gauntlet, giving her retaliate. And then a grappling hook, some night vision goggles, stun net, and then some AIM commandos, an AIM grunt. And then automated defenses, destroy some evidence, attack robotics, covert ops, the dance of death, and a widow's bite. And then the modular sets, we've got the AIM abductor, abduct some superhumans, and getting nabbed. And then moving on to the AIM science team, got the AIM scientist, AIM soldier, several of those, and a mad science card. All right, moving on from scenario 1. Then we go into Bat Rock and set up, infiltrating the embassy, and the campaign instructions. And basically with him, all the new stuff is just going to be his deck and his brigade. So on his A side, Schema 1, attack with 2, force response. After he attacks, place a threat on alert level. Force interrupt, when he would be defeated, reset his hit points to 8 instead, then remove 6 threat from the main scheme. See, he's just got 8 health. Then on the B side, going up to 2 of each, and 12 health is his main thing. Then infiltrate AIM Island Embassy, going over our contents and setup. Take a look at the alert level here in a bit. And then his infiltrate AIM Island. When the last threat is removed from this, we're going to move on to the next one. You can see what that starts with. So this is just a race to remove threat as fast as possible. So locate the missing person. Force interrupt. When the last threat is removed from this scheme, put one set-aside rescued captive ally into play exhausted under any player's control. Players may advance to stage 3A. If not, basically you can keep doing this until you get 4 of the captive allies out. And then the last one, when revealed, if the alert level is on the high side, deal each player a face down counter card. Otherwise, remove all threat from alert level and flip it to its high side. And this one, in expert mode, each minion gains quick strike. When an enemy attacks, it attacks the rescued captive instead. And you can see what we need to do to win and another way to lose the game. Then the alert level on the low side, if there's at least 4 threat per player here, remove all threat from here and flip this card. Force response after a character is defeated except by consequential damage, place 1 threat here. Hero action, spend a resource of any type to remove a threat from this spot. High side, Batrock gets +1 scheme and attack. Same alternate lose condition and force response and hero actions. Then our rescued captives, thwart a 1, attack a 1, 5 health. Victory is a -1, does not count against our ally limit. Card abilities cannot remove this ally from play. Hero action, exhaust it, remove 1 threat per player from the main scheme. We've got 4 of those you can grab. Then we also have some heightened reflexes. Embassy guards, embassy patrols, commander security office, leaping kick, security cameras, and that's it for Batrock. Then for his brigade, we've got Machete, the Rapido, Zaran, and then his Batrock's brigade, side scheme, and soldiers of fortune. Then moving on to scenario 3, we have Modok and his setup, the holding cell deck, and campaign instructions. And for this villain, we just have his core set and the Scientist Supreme. So Modok, A side, schema 2, attack of 1, retaliate 1, force interrupt. When he would be defeated, if a holding cell is in play, remove 2 lock counters from it. Reset Modok's hit points to 10 instead, otherwise the players win the game. And see, he's got 10 health. Then on his B side, scheme went up just a little bit. Retaliate 2 and steady, and 14 health. Upgrading Adaptoid, see contents and setup. Create the holding cell deck, see Rulebook, point you where to go, how to do that. Then on this side, when this stage would be completed, put 1 random set-aside Adaptoid environment into play instead. And if there are no set-aside Adaptoid environments in play, lose the game. Otherwise, remove all threat from here and shuffle each Adaptoid minion from the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. So we've got our holding cell. And another holding cell. You can see they're a little bit different. Using wild, that's using physical, mental, and energy. Then we've got a flying upgrade, psionic upgrade, another Sarah Garza upgrade, strong upgrade, then some adaptoids, automated mobile unit, and then focus crystal, nanobots, psionic force field, Then a psionic machetes, a reverse engineering. Then we have some aim jailers, hostage situation, psionic enhancement, it's alive, and a couple psionic blasts. And then the Scientist Supreme cards. Got Scientist Supreme, Monica Rappaccini, Diplomatic Immunity, and Diplomatic Sanctions. All right, moving on to scenario 4. We have the Thunderbolts, then their setup, their backup, and campaign instructions. And the Thunderbolts, gravitational pull, the hard sound, pale little spider, power of the atom, supersonic, and the leaper cards. All right, so the A version of Citizen 5, Schema 2, Attack of 2, cannot be defeated unless there are at least 1 per player Thunderbolt minions in the victory display. When he would activate against you during step 2 of the villain phase, if you are engaged with a Thunderbolt minion, he does not activate and heals 4 damage instead. See the health there. Then on the flip side, scheme went up, health, healing 6. All right, so then here going through our contents and setup, choose a modular set plus 1 per player additional modular sets, each with Elite Thunderbolt minion. Set each of those minions aside, shuffle the rest of their encounter sets into the encounter deck, reveal the Justice like Lightning environment. Then Apprehending Road Agents. All the minions gain guard. After a player attacks Thunderbolt minion, that minion engages that player. Then we have Justice like Lightning. Then his sword, Jolt. Some innocent bystanders. Then the Coming Storm, Rumbling Thunder. Down but not out. And Tap In. Then the extra modular sets. We've got Moonstone, the Rule of Skies, or Rule the Skies, Gravitational Pull, 2 of those, and 2 Psychological Manipulation cards. Then on to Songbird. Then some solid sound constructs, hard sound bindings, sonic bubble, and 2 hard sounds. Then Black Widow. It's got 2 hand springs, Pride of the Red Room, and then 2 pale little spiders. Radioactive Man. Radiation exposure, got 2 of those. Runaway nuclear reaction, and 2 power of the atoms. Mach 4 is blasters, heat-seeking missiles, aerial dogfight, and 2 supersonics. And then Batrock. Coupe de Foudre, Batrock the Leaper, and Parkours du Combatant. So this is your last chance to back out. Flipping on over, going to a full-page comic, and then Baron Zemo. So just going over the executive board, how to make an accusation, and the campaign instructions. And then what happens after all that. and an FAQ. And Baron Zemo and Shield cards. We'll look at these first. Got some Shield Troopers, an arrest warrant, and disavowed. Baron Zemo. So on the A side, scheme of 3, attack of 2, force interrupt. When he would be defeated, reset his hit points to 12 instead. Remove 3 secret counters from among board member environments. 12 health. A2. So he goes up to 18 health here. And then the B side, scheme of 4, attack of 2, 16 health. And B2 going up to 22 per player. Does get some steady in there. See, we've got 3 main schemes. Going over to contents and setup. So after the player phase ends, the first player may place 2 secret counters on a board member environment that has no secret counters on it to gain 2 cards from the shield envelope. 1 card instead. In campaign mode, players may advance to stage 2A and make their accusation. And then going over our accusation, when revealed, make an accusation by guessing a means, a motive, and an opportunity along with the board member associated with that combination. In the campaign log, this board member is the accused. When revealed, do the following. Use the cards in the aim envelope to identify the mole. For each guess you got wrong, place a secret counter on each board member. If you accuse the wrong board member, place 3 secret counters on the accused. Then advance to 3A. Here we flip Baron Zemo to his unmasked side and reset his hit points to his printed hit point value. Find his sword and attach it to him. Then fighting Zemo. When revealed, flip the mole to its attached side and attach it to Baron Zemo. Place a threat per player here for each secret counter on each board member attachment. So that is everything in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion for Marvel Champions. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.